All right, lads, we have something called the cosine rule. Okay. Now, previously we learned the sine rule, which is a over sine A and b over sine B. You all cool with that? Okay, so that's what we learned. Now, once again, there's two types of questions, okay? Just the sine rule and the cosine rule. We'll first of all concentrate on length questions. Now, the difference between the cosine rule and the sine rule, looking, cosine rule only has one angle. Do you see that? It has one angle, and how many sides does it have? A, B, and C. It has three sides and one angle. While in the sine rule, how many sides were there? Two sides and two angles. You cool with that? Right? So, here's what happens when you're going to use the cosine rule. Okay? So, what I teach is always try to use the sine rule first. And if you can't use the sine rule, then try the cosine rule. Okay? So look at this question here. Ready? 10, 13. For argument's sake, it's a length question, isn't it? Call that A. Sorry, call that A and call that large A. You cool with this? Now, lads, can we use the sine rule to get this question? Forget about the cosine. Forget about the cosine rule for a second. Can we use the sine rule? Are you looking? Just trying this one here, all right? And we're going to try the length formula right here. Okay, is this possible? What do you think? Why? Yeah. So you have so at the moment you haven't got enough angles here. Right. So for argument's sake, I'm going to turn this into a 40 degrees. You cool with that? Now is it possible? A over sine 40. Yeah. And what's the next part then? Which side do you want to pick, 10 or 13? And what's the problem with picking 13? You don't know the angle that's opposite 13, do you? Do you know the angle that's opposite the 10? No. You're out of options. Quite simply, the sine rule isn't going to work for you because you're missing two different parts. So you're going to go back now and you're going to try and use what's called the cosine rule, okay? Sorry. So here's the cosine rule. Cosine rule, you generally use it when it's like a sandwich and the angle's sandwiched in between. So see the way we know these two sides? See the way we know this side here and this side here? You see that? That means, and we know the 40 in between. That's a clear sign you're using the cosine rule. Okay? So here's what you do. So the cosine rule is written as this one here. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos A. Ready? Now, if that's small a, what's large A? What? 40. Does it matter which ones are B and C? Doesn't matter. Somebody can call this one B and this one C, or somebody could come back and change the two of them around. It doesn't matter. All right, let's fill in your formula. So what you get here? Go on, Adam. A squared equals? Yeah. Oh, sorry, 10 squared plus 13 squared, yeah. Yeah. 2 times 10 times 13 cos 40. Okay. So what do we get here? So I'm going to put all in the calculator in one go. I'm allowed to do that. So, and did you do that all in one go, Luke? Excellent. And lo and behold, 69.828. What's the only thing you have to do now? That's a squared. Square root it. What do you get when you square root it? 8.356, yeah, or 8.36. That cool, you guys? All right. So that's an example of a cosine rule. Okay. And we're going to do another one now. Right. I'll put up the formula. So here's one now. Question. Angle or length question? Which one is it? It's a length question. And all you got to do is label them and use the formula. If that's small a, what's big A? And what's B and C? Your choice. There you go. Fill in the formula. Off you go. So 60 is not that big of an angle. Shouldn't be too much bigger than 4 and 5. Okay. So let's find out. A squared equals, what's it? 4 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 4 times 5. Cos 60. Throw it all into the calculator in one go. Okay. So you have your plus 5 squared minus 2, 4 times 5, cos 60. And lo and behold, you get 21. What's the square root of 21? 4.582. Okay. So 4.58 to 2 decimal places. Handy enough? All right. All right, guys, let's try question 3. Okay, so you're doing this one now. Interchangeable. So that's capital A. You call that B and that one C. And these are very handy. They're easier than the sine rule, actually. This part is. Next part, not so much. And cos 80. And this will give you the length A. Second. Two times 9 times 12. Cos 80. And we got 187.49. Square root that. $13.7. We all cool? All right. So you can see these are very handy. It gets a bit more difficult when we're asked an angle question instead of a length question, okay? Slightly different technique for angles, okay? What's the only way an angle question can end? We've discussed this since the start. Sine inverse, cos inverse, or tan inverse. Agreed? All right. Now, when you're doing a angle question, see this part here? See that part there? That has a protective shield around it. You do not touch it until everything else is moved away. You cool? So, Cormac, this has a protective shield around it. It's do not touch it until the end of the question. This is for an angle question, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're looking for a big A. So what does that automatically mean? This one's called small a. All right? Even if I called that X, even if that wasn't called A and it was called X, you'd say, well, look, X is the angle part. That means the side looking at X must be the small a. Is that cool? Now here's what you're going to do. 8 squared plus 5 squared, yeah? So call that B and that one C. And then 2 times 8 times 5 cos A. Now, do you remember what I said earlier? Do not touch, don't touch what? This part here, isn't it? Just leave it alone. Doesn't want you to go near. Okay? So what do we do here? 7 by 7, 49. I can throw that part into the calculator. Why wouldn't I? 89. Is that cool with you? Right. Now, do you see the part I could put into the calculator? Would be this little part here, wouldn't it? Minus 2 by 8 by 5. I'll do that. One sec. Okay. Minus 80. Now, it's still protected. You still can't go near it. What do you think a lot of students will do? They'll take 89, take away 80. Why are you not allowed to do that? Yeah, the 80 is stuck to the cos. It's not an 80. It's an 80 cos A. You're not allowed. So don't go near it. That's basically it. All right. So what do we do next, lads? Bring the 89 to there, and 49 take away 89. Minus 40. We're very close now. Very close. Okay. You have a choice. You can multiply both sides by minus if you want. What happens if you multiply both sides by minus? Yep. What's the only thing stopping that cos A from being on its own? What's the only thing stopping the cos A being on its own? What I mean by on its own is it's on the right-hand side and it's beside an 80. So the 80 is preventing it from being on its own. So how do I stop that? I'll run something over with you really quickly, right? If I have 10 equals 2 multiplied by 5, would you agree with that? 10 is 2 multiplied by 5. Okay. If I bring the 2 underneath, and if I change that 2 to a minus 2, what happens to the balance? Anybody know? What is 10 divided by minus 2? It's minus 5. And that doesn't balance, does it? So what we keep needing to remind ourselves is that multiplication changes into division. So you don't actually change it. So it stays as a plus 80 because this one here has to stay as a plus 2 to maintain the balance. So it has to be 40 divided by 80. Is that okay? Now you're going to cos inverse it. So what happens when you cos inverse it? So grab your calculator, cos inverse it, and see what happens. Now, prediction time, Luke. Ready? Do you think it's the biggest angle in the triangle? Why? That's the biggest angle, isn't it? So it's the second biggest angle. Would you agree with that? Can't be above 90. Would you agree? So the prediction is this angle cannot be above 90. So let's see if we get an answer that suits us. So what do we get? Cos inverse. Well, yeah, 60 degrees. Perfect. 60 degrees for everybody? Cool. A is 60 degrees. Because A equals cos inverse 40 over 80. Okay with that? All right. So I'm going to grab this formula here. All of it. Okay. Cut. All right, let's go to the next one. This one here. Paste. Okay, try this one out. Once again, protective shield around this guy here. Can't touch it. Okay. Small a, small b, small c. Protective barrier. Your protective barrier. Anybody get this far? Anybody get? Your first choice is multiplying by minus 30. What's the opposite of multiplying by minus 30? Divide, you're still dividing by minus though, aren't you? Doesn't change. So you can do 15 divided by minus 30 if you want, and that can equal cos A. If some of you multiplied both sides by minus, you get minus 15 equals 30 cos A. And once again, see the 30? That'd go underneath, wouldn't it? And you could have minus 15 over 30. Believe it or not, they're actually the same thing. You put them both in the calculator, you get the same answer for both of them. Doesn't matter. So what's the last step then? Yeah, prediction time. A, biggest or smallest angle in the triangle? It's allowed to be above 90, isn't it? So if you get an answer above 90, that's allowed. So what you get when you cos inverse that? Huh? Yeah, that's about right. Now, lads, be very proud of yourselves if you're able to get these out, because these are killer questions. These ones destroy people in the leaving cert. Like it was trying to catch somebody out at our level. This is the question I give them. It's really difficult. Okay, cool. So we've done. What did we do? We did 1, 3. So we did one. What's the other one we did? Did more than one. Aye, never mind. All right. Your choice.